Exercise 42, question number 1. Question 1 is a required question on the BTEC course, so I'm going to have a look at one very like it, and then you can try the one in the exercise and see if you can get the answer there. So, solve this quadratic equation by factorising. I know it's going to factorise because I'm told it factorises. Whether or not you can tell a simultaneous quadratic equation factorises or not is something we'll need to talk about more when we get to the quadratic formula. But for now, I know it factorises, so that means I can write this 2 brackets. That's what I mean by the idea of it factorising. It's also important that the right-hand side is 0 because that's required to then finally solve it to get the value for x. So what I need to do now is work out which numbers go in the bracket. I need to think of 2 numbers that add together to give 2 and multiply together to give minus 24 rather. So go through the different combinations. 1 times 24 gives 24, so 1 and 24 are factors. Also 2 times 12 gives 24. Also 3 times 8 gives 24, and also 4 times 6 gives 24. So there's 4 different possibilities, and I know it's going to be one of those. One of them has to be positive, and one of them has to be negative, because they need to multiply together to give a negative number. So looking at the combinations, how can I make 2? Well, it's got to be this combination here, and if I'm going to add them together, this is going to have to be negative and this is going to have to be positive, because minus 4 plus 6 gives me my plus 2. So the numbers that go into the brackets are minus 4 and plus 6. So I've factorised this left-hand side now. What that means is that this is another way of writing the left-hand side of the equation. How can I show that's true? Well, if we multiply out these brackets, x times x gives x squared, which is the first term on the left-hand side at the top. X times 6 gives 6x, so that's 6x. Minus 4 times x gives minus 4x. So 6x minus 4x gets me back to my 2x again. So that's why I have to add them to get the 2. And then finally, multiplying minus 6 by 4, I get minus 24. So that's the same equation factorised. Now, the fact that the right-hand side is 0 becomes important in solving it, because at this point, either the first bracket, so if this bracket was 0, then it wouldn't matter what value the second bracket had, because anything times 0 is 0. Equally, if the second bracket was 0, again, it wouldn't matter what value the first bracket had, the whole lot would be 0. So we're looking for values of x so that the first bracket is 0 or the second bracket is 0. So either x minus 4 equals 0, and solving that little equation, adding 4 to both sides, so that means x equals 4, or the second bracket is 0. In other words, x plus 6 equals 0. And again, solving that little equation, subtracting 6 from both sides, we get x equals minus 6. So we conclude that x equals 4 or minus 6. Quadratic equations have 2 solutions, and there they are. And if you put those values for x back into the original equation again, you might want to try this. I think you'll find that in both cases the answer will turn out to be 0. So now have a go at the question in the exercise.